Welcome to Glitches to Gold, a weekly podcast birthed from my obsession with living a successful life. It began with chasing an Olympic dream and resulted in a 30-year obsession explored through sport, neuroscience, psychology, energetics, quantum mechanics, religion, art, and beauty. Sometimes chasing and achieving external markers, and at others experiencing the absolute opposite. Yet both taught me the same undeniable truth, and I'm here to share what I have discovered in the journey of mastering the alchemy of life, turning glitches to gold and success into overflow. If you like the podcast, share the love, rate and subscribe on your favourite platform. Hi, and welcome to Glitches to Gold. I'm Jo Warwick, and today we are diving on into why movement overrides every need for clarity. Okay, hear that again. Why movement overrides every need for clarity. Now, I'm saying this because I have heard so many times in my career women saying, I am waiting to have clarity before I take action. I'm waiting before I get to this certain point or this certain moment before I take action. I'm waiting. This is a pattern from the Matrix. Let's first say that. It is a pattern from the Matrix. It is a programming, an identity, and it goes against your actual human design. Now, before we move forward, I want to just quickly tell you about the free 2080 upgrade, Flip the Rules of the Matrix, for less effort, more ease, more money, more gold. This is my activation audio plus Hidden Money Patterns ebook. This is a fantastic place to start. If you're interested, if you want to start taking action today, head on over to glitchestogold.com and you will find it there. So why does this matter? Well, one of the things I have learned through my life, not just as in my career, but more importantly through my life, through things like surfing, when I was riding, when I learned about traveling, all those activities taught me very key things about momentum. And it's the understanding of energy, why energy must flow, why it's so important to understand momentum and movement to achieve the thing that you want. Now, I had a message from a woman in my world. She's been a client on and off. She's inside of Unlimited. And she sent me a message today. She had very clear strategy about where she was going. And yet she said in her language, I don't quite have clarity. I'm waiting until I have clarity. I want to do this thing, but. Now, if you've ever heard the expression that the but in a sentence is like an eraser. And it always makes me chuckle when people write the word but. And they try to justify things. But the truth is, underneath there is a pattern that's saying, hold back, wait, when the truth is, you gain clarity from movement. People get stuck in, they want to call it procrastination, but it really isn't procrastination. It's understanding that it's a matrix identity that keeps you circling the drain, not wanting to have momentum and flow. Matrix, as in the understanding of limitations and hidden patterns, is all a structure. This golden cage is to keep you stagnant in your energy. It's designed to keep you stagnant and drained. That's the whole point of it, so you stay limited. But once you understand the empowerment and power of energetic flow and the flow of the universe, which again is physics, and we're not talking about something completely woo-woo, it's understanding the mechanics of the creative life force of this planet, its energy, and that it flows through you and outside of you, that it must be in movement. We, as beings, if you were to look at us under a microscope, are constantly vibrating cells. Every organism, every cell, every atom of us is vibrating. We are designed to move. That's what growth is. That's what flow is. And in fact, it only goes one direction. The entire of the creative force goes outwards. It's supposed to flow. And it's just like being on a surfboard. If you're riding a wave, you expect it to go in one direction. You would be incredibly shocked if the sea started turning the waves going in the opposite direction. But that is kind of why we hold ourselves back. We're afraid that if we start to follow the momentum of the thing that we want, the wave that we're feeling on the inside, the desire, that it's suddenly going to turn around and come back the other way. It's suddenly going to disappear. Yeah? But the truth is, outside of yourself, that doesn't actually happen. What happens is that you're blocking the flow, the desire that needs you to take action, because things cannot manifest into your life, not just from a magical sense of manifesting and not just from a place of being mirrored, but things cannot become reality or manifested as matter if they haven't moved into a new state. There has to be movement. And so when we take these actions, we have to let go of it being perfect. You don't become a better surfer by learning about it in books and then hoping that the first time you ride that wave, you're going to be brilliant. You become a better surfer by riding waves and falling off and getting better and refining the way that you balance, listening to your body, listening to your mind, listening to the sea. You get better with practice. And it's exactly the same when you learn to walk. When you learn to walk, you didn't have all this conditioning. Oh my God, I can't learn to walk. I can't hold things. I have to get it right first time. Oh my God, I've fallen over. None of that was happening. What was driving you more than anything else in your body was desire for independence. That's what drives learning to walk. The same as speaking. It comes from an energy of desire, and desire must be moved through your body. And what happens if it doesn't move? If you hold yourself back, if you don't let that life force move through you, anger, resentment, fear, it all just gets stuck in your body as a dense energy that keeps you stagnant, which is what means you're in the matrix. Is this making sense? Is this blowing your mind? I want you to understand from a totally different perspective of actually when you understand energy flow, how all these things that we give labels to, like procrastination and I need more clarity before I take action, just like this woman, I said to her, what if the clarity comes by taking the action and you get better at it? Now, as a writer, and all writers would tell you, you refine through the writing. You refine through the process of writing, but you must write first. Stephen King says, write the first version with the door shut, just for you, let it flow, and then write it with the door open as though somebody else is going to look at it. That's the editing process. But you don't get better at owning your voice if you never speak, you never write. Until owning your voice as who you are, you have to practice. And this is one of the biggest things that gets people knotted about their life. So how does this interlink with your design? Well, the majority of people are generator types, manigens and generators. The difference between those two is some moves faster, some have sprint energy and then they slow down. But the truth is they're still generating energy. They must still flow energy. And it makes no difference. I'm a projector and I still need to move my energy. It doesn't really matter what your type is. Learning how that energy moves is more important than anything else. Giving yourself permission to move. And now I'm not saying just throw spaghetti at the wall. Try everything under the sun. That is also a matrix game. Yeah. But learning how to have movement first and not holding yourself back is more important, and learning how to refine that and have strategic action is better than no action. Moving from alignment, as in alignment means feeling the energy and taking the action. It doesn't mean I've got to have clarity through my brain first. It means I trust my body. Now, this brings me to a core point. So I did improv comedy about 2.5 years. And one of the things that you learn in improv comedy is to trust your body. If your feet say yes, as in they want you to move and it wants you to jump in, trust the instinct of it will come. You don't wait until something is in your head. You trust that you move from your body first. And that is the essence of life. That is the essence of success. Move when your body wants to move. That is simply the entire roundup of human design. When your body says yes, move forward. When your body says no, don't. Yeah. Once you have got into a healthy flow and trusting your body, That is how it's supposed to work. Now, if you're still in frequencies and blockages of trauma and those things, then that's going to get confused. The wiring has got confused. But if you've done the work to start listening to yourself, trusting yourself more, then you just have to move. You have to act. Nothing is going to change whilst you wait. Ever, 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 ever. Waiting is dead energy. It's not even the same as someone like a projector. We're told we're supposed to wait for the invitation. Even those words have caused a massive problem for people understanding human design. There's also the wait to respond. Waiting, completely wrong energy. But being in alignment and having patience, unfolding, listening, responding to things that come into you, and also allowing plenty of space for invitations is basically knowing when to move, trusting yourself. But it's the movement that must happen. And I come back to that thing I said at the beginning, which is about the flow. And to understand this is to understand that there is a constant flow of energy. People have talked about this for thousands and thousands of years. Taoism, which I absolutely love, talks about it as the way, and that very much is talking about the flow. The flow. We understand more about the flow. We kind of understand it when we think about how water moves, how the weather moves. We understand there's a sense of flow. We understand it from a physics point of view. There is flow. Energy moves. Energy never dies. It just moves and transforms. So why is it any different for us? We are energy. So we must move so that we can transform. Hear that again. We must move so that we can transform. We cannot transform if we stay stuck. And it is better that you start to move, start to trust, and clarity comes from that. It can only come from that. You can only become a better surfer of the flow by doing it. Doing it is the key, and doing it is the essence of success in your life. And that can be used as an analogy, as an understanding for your business, for your career, for a new house, for a new love affair, for understanding money because money flows, for desire, anything where your desires are. Yeah? And for me, recognizing that I had got stuck in a pattern with social media and changing the model of my entire business, that I had been stuck in a stagnant energy that wasn't working for me. It didn't serve me as my energy wasn't flowing. The energy of what I was doing wasn't flowing. I was not in flow. I was stuck in a pattern that was stagnant and coming from a trauma place of proving. Yeah? But the moment I started doing that, the moment I took myself away from that pattern, stepped out of that cage, that limitation, and allowed myself to reclaim, oh my God, my energy levels went massively through the roof. My ability to do more and create more, and then have invitations come in, such as joining brains, yeah? Being invited to be a partner there. The way that things are showing up in my life is happening because I stepped out of a pattern, a dense energy, a waiting energy, yeah? Weighted. Now remember that. When I say waiting, think weighted. Anywhere where you are waiting, you are weighted. So nothing's going to move. To have movement, as I said, movement creates transformation. Energy has to move to create transformation, for it to be transformed. If you have enjoyed today, if you are keen to get things moving, changing, having the life that you want, and as I say, literally for unlimited, it is having the gold standard life that you were designed for. That's my membership area. But if you want to start, head into the 2080 upgrade. But if you feel like, actually, I want to go further, I have the Decode the Matrix series. Is all about decoding literally the patterns and the stories, and you will have access to all of that, both the awakening and the decoding, if you dive on into that. And then, of course, there's Unlimited, which is where we encode the gold back into your life. So if you're keen to start on your own Glitches to Gold journey and transform your life forever, and you want to check out some of the amazing testimonials from my clients, etc., just head on over to glitchestogold.com. I love having you in my world, so make sure you like, subscribe, share, etc. Reach out on social media. You can find everything at glitchestogold.com. Have a beautiful day.